Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Put.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Today's Friday. It is the 19th of August. We've made it through the end of another week. Well, we made it to Friday. The day's not over, therefore the week is not over. But you know what I mean. You know exactly what I mean. So I hope you're doing well. Hope you've had a good week. Today our sun sign is in Leo. We're wrapping things up with Leo. We've got today, tomorrow, Sunday, and then Monday. And Monday afternoon, it's going to change. Actually, Monday morning, just before noon, it's going to change from Leo into the next sign, which will be Virgo. So remember, the sun sign is the sign that represents what our conscious mind is thinking about, what our conscious mind, the energies that we're kind of focusing on. I like to think of the way that astrology works. It's sort of like a clock. And as you look at this clock and it kind of tells you what the focus is, it kind of helps us to focus our collective energy to a particular idea or so on and so forth. And so with this particular idea of Leo, this particular season, we are focused on fire. We're focused on wanting to learn how to tame that animal nature within by using our imagination. Okay, it's very important that we be able to do this because this card has a word, righteousness, assigned to it. Righteousness or right useness of the energy. And it's letting us know and reminding us that we have this energy inside of us. Every single one of us has this abundance of energy. And what we do with it is up to us. When we allow our imagination to mix together with that energy, then it becomes something much different than if we're not applying imagination, if we're just letting it move around at its own volition without our participation in the process. And so that's very important. We want our minds to be able to create. We want to be able to use and understand how to use the fire properly that's in our life. The moon sign, which is the unconscious desires that we have right now, we're still in Pisces. We're going to be here all day today and into tomorrow until tomorrow night where we move to the next sign. So Pisces is our emotions, water. Pisces is teaching us the lesson that we all get to a barrier of what we don't know because we've traveled through the world of things that we do know, our comfort zone, and we all get to that point where we have to move out of our comfort zone. And once we move out of that comfort zone and we go past the pillars of what we know into the unknown realms, things are different. Things can be a bit scary. Our emotions are a little bit more on alert because we're trying to decipher what is taking place in this new experience that we're having as opposed to what we were experiencing before. And our emotions are very, very potent. Emotions are those buttons that can get pushed, and when they get pushed, we can act all sorts of crazy ways because once that emotional button is pushed, we can just go on and on and on. So that's why we want to protect ourselves. The first thing we have here is you have the shellfish, which is coming out of the water, the emotions, which has the shell reminiscent of the chariot or the charioteer, which has the armor. You have to protect yourselves from these emotions around us because our emotions are so powerful. So what we're doing is we're looking constantly at how these two aspects of our mind, the conscious mind, the unconscious mind, are working together, whatever the signs may be. The conscious mind is how we're looking at the outside world, what we are thinking about in the outside world, whereas the unconscious is what's underneath the surface. And those two things work together. It's kind of like the description of an iceberg. You only see a portion of the iceberg sticking out. Sometimes they say it's only 10%, whereas 90% of that iceberg might be under the water, might be the unconscious. The unconscious also plays itself out when we dream. We sleep, we dream, we have these various dreams of all sorts of things going on in that dream reality, and then we wake up and now we're in a different reality. So it's basically looking at the different worlds and different ideas that we are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. So that's what's important. That's why it's always important to look at these things and help us to understand. Is astrology, are these planets and stars and these alignments the be all and end all of everything? Absolutely not. It's just the particular way in which energies in this particular system are arranged that are helping us to look at the energetic patterns around us. Kind of like looking at the weather. That's really all it is. Looking at the weather to see what is going on. Okay? And the aspects we're looking at today, a number of them have already occurred. We had Saturn jumping into the mix here, wants us to apply some discipline and focus to the things we're doing. Neptune wants us to look at things from a new perspective. Mercury wants us to be able to find the thing in ourselves that needs to be healed and be able to learn how to communicate that, express what it is that we need so that we can get the healing we desire. And then as we move into the afternoon, Pluto, that deep transformative sign, is going to mix with our emotions. So we have an opportunity to see how these emotions can really be beneficial and transformative to us. And finally, when we get to this evening, 5:24 p.m., imagination, Venus, is going to get in there. And imagination wants us to be able to look at our emotions and see how we can apply some imagination to them to keep ourselves in balance. Okay, this is an opposition, this little symbol here, two ends of the teeter-totter. You want to stay in balance. So the imagination wants to be in balance with the emotions. And that's the trick. That's the lesson that is being learned. Over the weekend, we have a changing of the moon sign. We're going to go to Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac. Pisces is the last sign, so our emotional realm, or the unconscious realm, is starting to go through that cycle beginning again. And that's where we'll be over the weekend. And when we return Monday, we will be making a transition not only into the sun sign, but also into another moon sign. So right now, we're dealing with emotions, okay? Emotions today, emotions tomorrow, moving into a different expression, ideas. The moon sign is 98% of the way full. It's a waning moon, which means we're going back down to the new moon. The new moon will be on September 1st, less than 2 weeks away now. The Jewish calendar date is 15 Av. 15 Av, year 5776. And the daily thought for today is the unbattle. Marriage is not a power struggle, and the home is not a battlefield. To give in does not mean to relinquish power, and taking things over does not mean that you are entering negotiations. The two of you comprise a single entity, a couple. What is good for one is good for the other. When you come to a decision, it is a decision of both of you as one being. Do it not as a sacrifice, but as a gift, not as a defeat, but as a triumph of love. Okay? And the space weather today, our solar wind around us, 343.3 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is 2. It's going to remain there over the course of the next 24 hours. It's in the quiet range. Not really much in the way of corona holes, a little bit at the top, a little at the bottom. It says we will feel some wind today and over the weekend. M-class layer possibility still at 1, X-class at 1. Geomagnetic storm activity is increasing slightly in the mid-latitudes, 25 to 30 as far as being active in the minor realm, 10 to 15. When we get into the higher latitudes, it looks like it's subsiding a little bit. 25 down to 20, 40 to 20. So, the universe is breathing in and out. We have the upper realms, we have the lower realms, or various latitudes, and so energy moves down. It moves down from one place to the next as we down here on Earth are getting hit with all of this energy around us. So there you have it. That's what we're dealing with. We've got fire for our conscious mind. We got water for the unconscious mind. Ideas and emotions, we want to make best use of them as possible so that we can be as effective as we can. And there you have it. UFO news is up.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. Today I have 4 stories. First one comes to us out of Poland. This was a UFO that appears at the beach on live cam in Poland during the sunset. This happened on the 16th. Okay. So this is the object in question. It says, guys, live internet cams are an untapped tool that needs to be more focused by UFO researchers. Live cams let you be in thousands of places with just a glimpse. This UFO was cloaked but seen during the sunset on the cam due to the sun's angle of setting. Amazing catch. I enhanced the natural colors of the photo to make it stand out more. Most UFOs do originate from underwater bases. It's just logic, guys, since 75% of the Earth is covered in water. Okay, very interesting. First question we have to ask, is this real? Things can be doctored. We know that we have the technology to do this, so the question is that a real, or is that some sort of 3D animation? It's always a good question to know. Make sure we are not getting fooled in any way, shape, or form. Goes on to say, hi y'all, some of the more huge objects near the sun at sunrise in Europe concentrated on how the new weird UFO disc-shaped object in the Sopot Poland skyline webcam and the NEA Aurora Chokladiki skyline webcams. For this series of images and videos, a section of the video has been sped up for time value. Most of the H highlights are single to a few images between the video segments. Okay, the overall video is 25 minutes. We're not going to watch a 25-minute video here. I'm going to leave the link available for you, but I'm going to zip ahead here. There's our object in question. What do you think that is? Is that something coming out of the water? Sitting above the water, we certainly see that we got the waves going on here. So there you have it. Don't know what that is. Check it out. Look at the video. See what you think. Is it real or is it just something fake? Here we have a video taking place over San Diego. There's our object. Seems to be moving in a very bizarre manner. Like it shows up, disappears, shows up, disappears. I don't think I've seen one like this before, so this is it's always interesting and refreshing to see something a little bit different. All right, now as we look at this, we starting to notice you got all these different lights here. It looks like they might be the lights around something much larger because they seem to be moving in unison. Maybe it's one large craft here, and these are all lights along the edge. Is that possible? Video is 1 minute and 25 seconds. It's available for you to watch. See what you think on that. Here we have a UFO sighting over Mexico. Causes traffic to slow down. This dark UFO was seen over the roads in Mexico this week and caused the cars to slow down to get a better view. There seems to be a lot of eyewitness to the event there, so I hope to see more videos of it, and I will update this post to appear online. Till then, these two will have to do. The first one says mind-blowing, which is right there. Okay, that is a good video capture. Alright, let's take a look at what the second one is. Second video. This one's 2 minutes up. 2 minutes and 20 some seconds. There's our object in question. Alright, pretty good sighting. Interesting object above there. And finally, this one here has been making its rounds on the internet. This is a figure, this figure right here, walking through the desert in Portugal. They're publishing this for entertainment purposes. This video is taking the internet by storm. You decide. Okay, just remember, 3D graphics are available pretty much to anybody who wanted to get a hold of some. And this could be exactly what that is, or this could be very real and could be a being that was actually captured on camera. Bizarre footage shows a mythical beast creeping through the Portuguese desert, conspiracy theorists claim. Viewers are divided as to what the creature could be, with some claiming it's an alien, others claiming it's a relative of Bigfoot. In a strange clip, the unknown being appears to move through the derelict wasteland. The figure, which resembles Gollum from Lord of the Rings, almost completely blends in with the surroundings. After the camera sweeps around to give viewers a full look of the landscape, it attempts to refocus on the creature. There it is right there. Weirdly, when it zooms back in, the beast is nowhere to be seen. Since the strange clip was posted on YouTube channel Alien Sightings, it's been viewed 204,000 times. One commenter insisted that the mystery figure is a chupacabra, a legendary creature that is believed to originate from Puerto Rico. Others assured that it must be extraterrestrial being or a relative of Bigfoot. One viewer claimed it looks like a starving Bigfoot, while another insisted it was an alien. Even though the footage has sparked debate online, not everyone is convinced by the theorist's claims. One says extremely poor camera quality, I don't believe it. Another agreed, funny how you can never get a clear picture of these so-called alien sightings. Hard for anyone to believe when it happens all the time. So let's take another look at this. Here's their creature right there. So this could be a really good 3D animation someone made. Being walks here and just sort of stops behind the tree. I don't really see this as a Gollum-like creature because I've never seen any images or animations of the Gollum that look like that. And Gollum, as far as I'm aware, has only ever been a 3D animation. So that says something in itself. As far as being a relative of Bigfoot, well, just like that doesn't mean it has to be related to Bigfoot. It could just be some other creature. Who knows? Who knows what that is? Somebody knows. Whatever it is bizarre. Definitely has long arms. Alright, there you go. UFO news for today has come to an end. Let us move forward. I'll be right back.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of them.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up.
So what you just heard there in that song, Wake Up, was a little passage from the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence was when America gained its freedom from England. The reason America gained its freedom from England was because England was being very oppressive. The King of England was not being very fair in his treatment towards the British colonies that had come to the United States or come to this land that went on to become the United States. And so, after enough oppression, the citizens here in this country decided to take action. So, they stood against the oppressive regime, the oppressive government, and they won their freedom. It took a battle. It took a battle to do so. Now, in this day and age, people complain. They say, "Oh, well, that was really nonsense. These guys were terrorists, and they took over this country, and blah blah blah." And they're just missing the point. You see, if those gentlemen back then didn't do what they did, if they didn't take action, we wouldn't be a country right now. We wouldn't be here. Who knows what we would be doing and how we might be living life, but we certainly wouldn't be living in the way we are. So those gentlemen were very brave. They stood up in a way that needed to be they needed to stand up because of the oppressiveness that was taking place. The amazing thing about the Declaration of Independence is when you read the various reasons, and there's a good list of them, on why Americans and why we decided to gain our independence from England, was quite a list of oppressions. And if we look at that list, we can certainly apply that list not only to this president, but we can apply it to the previous presidents and even going back. Americans, though, are very slow to act at times, and the Declaration even states that we are very slow, that we will suffer as long as we can suffer. Seems to be because Americans, in many ways, don't want to be bothered. They don't want to be bothered with having to stand up against something. They just want to get up, live their life, do what they want to do, and then go to bed and start all over the next day. However, in order to be able to move forward as a country and continue to have and enjoy the freedoms that we have, we do need to be able to apply a certain kind of actions into the world. We need to be able to understand what we have and appreciate it a bit. We look at other countries and we see that there's a lot of problems. See that there's a lot of problems because there's a lot of oppression in these other countries, and we are one of the few that has had an opportunity to step away from oppression. Now, the Declaration of Independence states very clearly that we do have the right, not only the right, but the duty to do something about the oppressions that we see. To not do something, well, we're not doing our duty. To not do something, we may hurt ourselves more than we realize, because we're all in this together. No man here is an island. No person is in this by themselves. We're all here together. We all have to operate and work together. But we're having problems because part of society is doing things in one way and another part of society is doing things in another way. One part of society is being very oppressive. The oppression is coming from those in power because they get power hungry. They keep wanting more and more and more. So we have these governments, this particular government here in the United States of America, which has gotten very power hungry. It's gotten rich off of the various donors that are applying money into the process. And as these donors are giving money and contributing, they're wanting something more. They want something from a selfish perspective rather than a selfless. And so all these individual organizations are applying and adding money simply to see what they can get for them. And we can see what the problem is, because though money can be very beneficial and is a tool that we created to use to be able to help us to maneuver through this life, it can also be something used in the wrong way that can be very manipulative and hurtful. It can be very oppressive. So we've seen this over and over and over. We've seen people lie for money all the time. Now, it'd be nice if people didn't do that, It'd be nice if people had a little bit more integrity about what's going on, but people always have excuses on why they feel that they need to lie for money. I even noticed that, when you watch reality shows, and I like to watch reality shows from time to time. I have a couple that are some of my favorites. It's kind of a good way to step away from all the craziness of the world and just kind of watch other people act and operate and behave. I like the psychology of it to see how people operate when they're in a different circumstance. And even in those games, you watch people throw their integrity so away at a chance to win some money. Even though only one person does win the money, everybody willing to take a shot at that, or a lot of people willing to take a shot at those kind of things, are willing to throw their integrity away. And that says something about a person. I don't think anybody should ever be willing to throw their integrity away for anything, whether you're playing a game or whether you're doing something in real life. That's your integrity. We only have an opportunity to use our integrity one way, and when we are showing that we're willing to compromise that in order to get something, then the question is, what else will a person be willing to compromise their integrity for? And that becomes a problem. So I think we have to take a look at what we do in life and how we use our integrity, and not go down these slippery slopes of misusing what we have, because it's important. Integrity is something very important. And we don't see this coming from our leaders these days. We don't see that at all. I thought I'd bring you some stories today that are in the news that are, some of them are getting a little bit of discussion, some of them not so much, just so you're aware of some of the things that are going on out there. First thing is, we have this president in office who is not a man of integrity by any means. Quite the opposite. He's a man of lawlessness, and he does one lawless thing after the other. When Obamacare was put in place, we were told, if you have a doctor, you can keep your doctor. Over and over and over, he said that. However, once Obamacare was put into practice, it was found out that that was an absolute lie that he kept telling every time he got in front of the cameras. Because you couldn't keep your doctor. Everything changed. Well, there's been one lie after another with this man. I can continue to go on. And the most recent was in regards to Iran and what this $400 million were for. Instantly, critics who looked at this situation and understood, hearing from the prisoners, that they weren't allowed to leave till this other plane arrived. They didn't know what was on the other plane, but later found out that it was money. They understood then that it was a ransom that was being paid for them. The White House response was, oh no, this was just a coincidence. This was part of a debt we owed them. It was just a coincidence that it happened at the same time. And he kept saying it over and over. And the White House spokesperson kept saying the same thing over and over. People were getting frustrated. And now we find out that what people initially thought was correct. So basically, they lied again. Really, is that a surprise? It's strange that we've accepted that this is the way it is, and that we're not surprised that there's a lie. We're more surprised when somebody actually tells the truth coming out of this administration. So here is State Department contingent on U.S. prisoner release. The State Department admitted Thursday that the United States handled over $400 million in cash to Iran only after Tehran released 4 American hostages 2 weeks after President Obama insisted the payment was not a ransom. State Department spokesman John Kirby was asked at a press briefing, in basic English, you're saying you wouldn't give them $400 million in cash until the prisoners were released, correct? That's correct, he replied. But in an August 4th press conference, Obama said the opposite. We did not pay ransom. We didn't here, and we won't in the future, the president told reporters, speaking of the January payment and the hostage release. Families know we have a policy that we don't pay ransom, and that the notion that we would somehow start now in this high-profile way and announce it to the world even as we're looking in the faces of other hostage families whose loved ones are being held hostage, and saying to them we don't pay ransom defies logic, Obama added at the time. He even lectured the press for daring to raise the issue. It's been interesting to watch this story surface. Some of you may recall we announced these payments in January. Many months ago, there wasn't a secret. We announced them to all of you. Press Secretary John Earnest did a briefing on them. This wasn't some nefarious deal, the president said. It wasn't a secret. We were completely open with everybody about it, and it's interesting to know to me how suddenly this became a story again. The U.S. claims the money delivered in stacks of cash aboard an unmarked cargo plane was part of a settlement of a long-standing dispute with the Iranian regime over a never-completed arms deal from the 70s. Kirby continued to maintain Thursday that the two negotiations were separate, referring to the hostage release and the arms deal. Kirby's comments came after the Wall Street Journal reported that the plane carrying $400 million crisscrossed the one returning the 4 Americans. The paper had earlier reported that senior Justice Department officials had objected to sending the cash at the same time as the hostage release, but their objections were overruled by the State Department. People knew what was going to look like, and there was a concern that the Iranian probably did consider it a ransom payment, one official told the Journal. Critics said the president damaged himself by claiming there was no connection between the payment and the hostages. I think that most of the world believes it is a ransom payment. Representative Ted Yoho of Florida told CNN, and the Obama administration lost credibility. They drew a red line and said that they didn't pay ransom. It is recorded. CNN has tapes of it. Every major network does. It looks fishy. Well, he lied again. And unfortunately, we're not surprised that he lied again because that is just what he does. It actually would be more surprising if he told the truth, but we don't get that. Why? Because this man is not an honest man. I believe he's the Antichrist. I believe he's absolutely the Antichrist. He fits the descriptions of the Antichrist, the things that he's doing. He's representative of the religion that is an Antichrist religion. He's helping them to spread their Islam, their ideology, their radical ideology throughout the world and certainly into America. So this man of lawlessness, well, did it again. Told another lie. And the media, which I don't know what's going on with them, but they don't ask the right questions. I can think of all different ways to ask questions, but these people that are there at the press briefings, I don't know. They let down America. They let down Americans when they don't ask the right questions, when they don't hammer the White House, and they let them get away with this nonsense. It's almost as if people in the mainstream media feel that they are immune from the lies that are going on. Either that or they're not very smart and they don't know how to do research, because the information that they have available to them is the same information that every single American does in this day and age with the technology we have available to us. One of the things and concerns we have with the policies of this particular administration is the way in which they are letting various refugees into the country that are coming from locations where there is a radical Islamic problem. There's been concerns, there's been complaints, there's been warnings over and over and over again, but this administration tells us that we're crazy to believe and think such things, that Islam is a religion of peace. Despite the fact that they're a religion of peace, the radical members of Islam want to cut people's heads off that don't believe the same thing that they believe. They want to throw homosexuals off roofs or put them in prison because they don't believe that that lifestyle is something that Muhammad would condone. They want to oppress women because they think of women as second-class citizens. They believe that they should follow the example of Muhammad, who kept slaves, So they believe that it's okay for them to keep slaves. They believe it's okay to lie if it's going to help spread the cause of Islam into the world. And this is just par for the course of the way in which they behave. Now, Americans and people who are paying attention to this are looking at the situation and thinking how silly that we continue to follow this belief system that is being expressed to us from an administration that continually lies over and over and over. Because if they were lying about other things, they're probably lying about this too. In 622 AD, history tells us that Muhammad and his followers entered Medina as refugees. They were they were chased out of where they were, Mecca, because the people in Mecca did not like the way in which they were spreading this ideology that Muhammad had claimed that he had received in this cave. They didn't like that, so they left Medina. They left Mecca. They went into Medina as refugees, and then once they got there, they made their plans to take over by building up their resources, by converting others around them, and within a couple of years, they had become strong enough that they then attacked. They attacked the very people who took them in. They killed some of them. They took over their land, and the ones they didn't kill, they made their slaves. And from that place in Medina, they began to spread throughout the world, began to move on their conquest of all the places where Islam has spread to these days. So we look at that and we have a phrase, a saying, those who don't remember the past are doomed to repeat it. Well, if we don't remember in the past that Muhammad and his followers went into a country and conquered it, disguised as refugees, seems like that's a big piece of the puzzle, because we have a situation where we have refugees pouring into Europe, pouring into Germany, pouring into a number of countries, and they're going in there, and then these refugees are turning on the very people who allow them in the same way that they did back in 622 AD. And we have the same situation going on in America. I don't see how we could turn a blind eye to this situation. It's a very real thing that's happening, and people are being killed and hurt, and we see these attacks happening all the time, more than we care to know about, and it's getting to be too common. Well, here is a situation exactly as the concern that has shown itself. In Germany, weapons of Allah safe houses have been found. Huge underground mosque network. Immediately following the refugee crisis, many countries were faced with a decision: vet all refugees prior to allowing them to enter the country, or allow millions to resettle wherever they wanted without vetting them at all. Countries like Germany are wishing they would have chosen a different approach prior to allowing millions into their country without vetting them at all. German authorities carried out a covert operation and located what they are referring to as an arsenal of weapons of war. During the operation, they found the weapons in a safe house across the street from a radical mosque in Germany. German authorities wanted to carry out the operation sooner, but anonymous sources indicate they were shut down multiple times by their leader, Angela Merkel. See, Angela Merkel is not working for the people. She's allowing these individuals to come into the country despite the warnings, all under the guise of we have to be diverse, we have to let them in. So here's the mosque. Here's the houses around there where they found weaponry. Merkel, like Barack Obama, has been a leading voice arguing that Islam is peaceful and that we should accept it into our countries. Yet Europe has been flooded with terrorist, ISIS-inspired attacks, and now dozens of arsenal houses have been found right next door to radical mosques. German intelligence sources have admitted there's an extremely high possibility that there are hundreds of more sleeper cells holding similar arsenals and waiting to carry out a large-scale attack. According to my information, a weapons cache was excavated with heavy military weapons in this operation. Hippie said in a press release Friday, the danger of arming violent fundamentalists in Germany is very large. This makes that makes this secret use more than clear. Look at all those guns. Why does the religion of peace need to have all of these guns? Okay, what's up with that? Certainly, I understand in America that we have the right to bear arms to protect ourselves, but this is a religion. This is a religion of peace. This isn't about just protecting yourself. This is about stockpiling weapons in order to go into some sort of jihad. The fear is that a large Salafist sleeper cells, jihadists, and ISIS terrorists in Germany get support from foreign intelligence services that are not friendly to us, Tippy said. We can assume that these secret arsenals for a major attack are used not only in Germany, but the whole of Europe. It would be very negligent if we do not recognize the danger and don't uncover the arsenal. This is not an isolated case either. Following Paris attacks, French government officials found another war arsenal near a mosque that contained 334 war-grade weapons. They arrested 223 jihadi terrorists set to carry out more attacks. In fact, it has gotten so serious that France has closed down more than 160 radical mosques, while Europe is facing unprecedented waves of radical Islamic terrorism. We have received dozens of reports indicating that several war arsenals are in fact located in the United States as well. Let me read that again. We have received dozens of reports that several war arsenals are in fact located inside the United States as well. A leaked memo indicates that dozens of safe houses in Germany are not only linked to Paris attacks, but they also have been coordinating with a safe house inside the United States. Coincidentally, the arsenal homes in the United States are also around gigantic mosques. As we work to confirm these reports, we're seeing a clear pattern. Refugees and radical Muslims are covertly running and setting up these safe houses next door to mosques because they know that Obama has shielded them in the United States. An unnamed official from the CIA indicated that the goal is to set up a hub in the United States so that they can carry out one large-scale attack, or they can distribute the guns, grenades, explosives, and launchers to dozens of similar jihadi groups so that they can carry out attacks all over the United States. Sources indicate that these mosques have been flagged by government agencies as being dangerous and having connections to radical Islamic terrorism. We do not know where the safe houses are located within the United States, but we can see a map of where the mosques have been linked to supporting terrorist groups and maybe draw a connection. There's more to the article. I'm going to leave that to you. Who could have seen this coming, right? Who could have seen this coming? 622, Muhammad and his followers went into Medina, disguised as refugees, and then they gathered their weapons and they attacked. Who could imagine that here in 2016 that they would do exactly the same thing? Who could imagine that those who want to emulate everything Muhammad did would actually emulate the way in which he snuck into countries? Who could possibly imagine that that might have happened? You know who could have imagined that? I could have, and many others who have been paying attention to this situation could have. It really isn't a stretch to figure out what's going on. It's just the president and this administration. They're the ones who have tried to let Americans and tell Americans, nope, this isn't going on. Don't believe the lies. Well, we have a president who's Muslim, who's connected to the Muslim Brotherhood, who's a lawless individual, and by all accounts is the Mahdi, the 12th, hidden 12th Imam of the Islamic State that is helping to spread Islam throughout the world and certainly helping to spread it throughout America. So we don't expect him to tell the truth. He's a traitor to this country. Why he is still in office, I don't know. Where are all the brave men and women in the military that are in positions that can remove him from positions of power for treason? I don't know. But we certainly are being infiltrated by a jihadist movement led by the president of this country. And that's a sad thing that we've gone this far and this is still going on. Time will tell, but there's something very biblical about all of this, which is why I think he's still in power, because if it wasn't the case, I think we'd be a little bit smarter. But to go 8 years and be fooled for 8 years by somebody, that's not a very good sign of intelligence. That kind of shows a point of stupidity on our part, don't you think? All right, here's a story we're going to jump to. Hillary Clinton. It's an article at InfoWars. Paul Joseph Watts puts this together. Radiologist. Hillary Clinton has a serious underlying disease. Board certified diagnostic radiologist Dr. Milton R. Wolf says that Hillary Clinton has a serious underlying disease that her campaign is hiding from the American people. Wolf, a practicing physician in Kansas City, reached out to InfoWars to question why Hillary is being given the blood thinner Coumadin, a drug used to prevent heart attacks, strokes, and blood clots in veins and arteries. According to Wolf, Hillary's doctors know that you would never give Coumadin to normal, healthy patients. It's too dangerous, and this must mean that her risk of morbidity or mortality from blood clots without Coumadin would be substantial. In his experience, patients who take Coumadin are at risk of intracranial hemorrhage and suffer falls on a regular basis. Wolf asserts that Hillary's diagnosis of sinus thrombosis is only possible if she suffered massive injuries as a result of her fall in 2012. Her dural sinus thrombosis was absolutely not caused by a simple concussion, not a chance. That was a lie, he notes, adding that sinus thrombosis is always due to serious underlying diseases. So, this is a concern that we definitely need to address. We can't be having a person running for office when she is ill, especially if she has a mental problem, because her decision making might not be the best. And if she's going into a situation where she is so sick that one day she may just drop dead from her illness, well, that's not fair to the American people as well, because then we are stuck with the vice president candidate that she chose, someone we don't know all that much about. And again, the American people get hoodwinked. So I would think that if there's really anybody around her that cares about her, that they would actually want to take care of her a little bit better than they're doing. The fact that they're not, they're parading her out there like a puppet on a string, just shows that they really don't even care for her particular health. They probably don't care if she lives or dies, which is a sad state of affairs for what's going on with humanity, at least this administration. All right, we know about the flood going on in Louisiana. 3 people who should take an interest in the president, certainly Hillary Clinton, who's been in office quite a number of times, and then, of course, Donald Trump. Well, only one of these 3 is actually taking any consideration about that, and that is the man in the middle, Mr. Trump. The presidential nominee Donald Trump and his running mate Mike Pence are going to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Friday to meet the victims of flooding that has killed 13 and forced 30,000 Louisianans to leave their homes. I hope everyone in Louisiana knows that our country is praying for them and standing with them to help them through these difficult hours, Trump said at a rally in North Carolina on Thursday. President Obama has given no indication that he will interrupt his 2-week vacation in exclusive Martha's Vineyard to visit the flood victims. The president played another round of golf Thursday with television star Larry David and Bain Capital co-managing partner Jonathan Levine. The Obama family vacation is scheduled to continue until Sunday. Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton will be resting from the campaign trail Friday and will also not be visiting Louisiana over the weekend. She currently has no campaign events scheduled until Sunday, and she'll be holding a fundraiser in Providence, Massachusetts, featuring the entertainer Cher. Well, it just goes to show the character of someone like a Larry David or a Cher. Because either one of them, both of them, should be saying to these particular individuals, Hillary and to Obama, we'll skip the golf game now. Let's skip the fundraiser. People in Louisiana are dying. You need to get your butt out there and take care of the situation. But they're not doing it. Just kind of shows their character as well. So we've got Obama, the Antichrist, who's choosing to play golf doesn't want to interrupt his vacation while people out in Louisiana are going through a serious threat. Really shameful on his part, but unfortunately, it's what we've come to expect from that man. Now, Black Lives Matter certainly is a cause that he always takes time for. And we can see here, you saw that there was the $650,000 payment from George Soros. Here we have another $100 million from liberal foundations. Look at, see, they have their big sign out here. Stop killing black people is what they're saying. Black Lives Matter wants you to make sure you stop killing black people. But what they actually mean is stop killing black thugs, because that's who they stand up for. Okay, for all of its talk being a street uprising, Black Lives Matter is increasingly awash in cash, raking in pledges of more than $100 million from liberal foundations and others eager to contribute to what has become the grant-making cause du jour. The Ford Foundation and Borealis Philanthropy recently announced the formation of the Black-Led Movement Fund, BLMF, a 6-year pooled donor campaign aimed at raising $100 million for the movement of Black Lives Coalition. Well, give me a freaking break, would you? Black Lives Matter isn't for people. Black Lives Matter is an activist organization only concerned about themselves. And the only ones that they support are the black thugs. They should be TLM, Thug Lives Matter, because that's the only people that they support. All the individuals that they're out there marching for are all thugs. All thugs. And if the people that are marching actually took time to pay attention to the records and the backgrounds of the people that this Black Lives Matter group is standing up for, maybe some of them might step back from what they're doing, because they're supporting a thug behavior. That's all it is. In this regards, Black Lives Matter doesn't. Black Lives Matter matters not at all. They could completely disappear and it wouldn't affect anything as far as the black community, because they're not out helping the black community. Now, black people matter, just like white people matter, and yellow people, and red people, and brown people. People matter, but organizations, especially activist ones like this, they don't matter one iota. Here's an example. Here's a situation in Louisiana, same flooding situation, and this gentleman right here has put out a video asking the question, where is Black Lives Matter? He said Black Lives Matter and new Black Panthers claims to be champions for black Americans, yet in Louisiana, where floodwaters are literally sweeping away many black people's dreams, neither group is anywhere to be found. I'm going to leave this video for you to watch on your own. It's just a short video where he's talking about the situation out there, saying that he sees the local community individuals helping. Members from the black community are out there helping each other and helping others. He said, but he has yet to see a Black Lives Matter person show up in any sort of boat with any sort of supplies. He doesn't see anybody out there from the Black Panthers groups. Certainly he noticed that they were there to protest for Alton Smith, and they were there with their weapons ready to go to war, as he said, as we've all heard, but actually want to go out and help some people that are in trouble, nowhere to be seen. You know why? Because these guys that are involved with Black Lives Matter are nothing more than the thugs that they are protecting, than the thugs that they are chanting for. Shameful, disgusting individuals that are only looking out for their own cause, betraying their own people, betraying the people that they claim to be a part of the group. So I hope that this video goes out there, and I hope members of the black community understand even more now that Black Lives Matter is not for you. Black Lives Matter is an activist organization funded by the old white man George Soros. So what you got basically are all these blacks running around as slaves to the old white guy. Kind of ironic, isn't it? Because there be those members of the group would be the first ones to be out there complaining about the slavery days, complaining about how they're oppressed and they're slaves. Yet they're taking money from this white guy to go out there and bring more oppression to the black community. What kind of people are those that do that? That's really shameful and disgusting. So I hope every member of the black community, every black person out there, I hope you see this and understand and distance yourself from this group. Distance yourself from these despicable individuals who would take money and turn their back on their very community because they don't care. Because if they cared, they'd be out there in Louisiana. If they cared, they'd be in Chicago and they'd be dealing with all of the murders that go on, the black on black crime. If they cared, they'd be in other communities helping out. But they don't. All they want to do is take in the money because they're selfish, greedy individuals. They want to take in the money from the old white guy and they want to use that to further their causes and their agendas. Well, that's not going to work. It's going to fail because when people are selfish like that, ultimately it catches up to them. And when this catches up to them, I hope the whole world sees this and sees them for the scumbags that they are. That's probably the best way for that to go about. All right. So, if I can get this page to switch here, we got one more piece here I want to bring up to you. We're going to switch gears now. I don't want to keep on going with all that nonsense. I want to look at something else. We're going to look at for a few minutes here before we wrap things up, Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla is a very unique individual who brought a lot of wisdom and insight and technology to humankind. Now, unfortunately, after his death, that technology was collected by the government. Some of it is now being used for nefarious purposes. I'm pretty certain that if Nikola Tesla was here, he would not like the way in which his information is being used. Nonetheless, that's what's going on. And what also is going on is this page will not seem to want to move, so we might not be talking about Nikola Tesla. Unless, of course, I can get this to work. You know what? I'm going to jump away for a few moments to a song while I try to fix this. I'll be right back. Here we go.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
Sometimes it just takes a few moments to let Great Spirit shine down that light. All right, here we go. Nikola Tesla. 27 life-changing lessons to learn from Nikola Tesla. Known as the genius that lit the world, Nikola Tesla inspired nations to come together in the name of peace and science. He also inspired me to write this post. As visionary, far ahead of his time, Nikola Tesla has become, for me, a source of inspiration and great wisdom. And today I would like to share with you 27 of the many lessons I have learned from this incredible man. Just going to read through the 27 list here. You can go and read all the little in-between stuff. Number 1, science can make more progress by studying the non physical phenomena. 2. Your body is a priceless gift. 3. If you want to find the secret to the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. 4. Genius requires solitude. 5. The brain is only a receiver. 6. The gift of mental power comes from God. 7. Instinct transcends knowledge. 8. The more we know, the more ignorant we become. 9. If the hate of men could be turned into electricity, it would light up the whole world. 10. If you can imagine it, you can achieve it. 11. When natural inclination develops into a passionate desire, one advances towards his goal in 7-league boots. 12. Life is a mystery to be lived. 13. Our virtues and our failings are inseparable. 14. Misunderstandings are always caused by the inability of appreciating another's point of view. 15. You may live to see man-made horrors beyond your comprehension. 16. A man cannot be saved from his own foolishness by somebody else's efforts. 17. Peace can only come as a natural consequence of universal enlightenment. 18. All that was great in the past was ridiculed. 19. The future will evaluate each person according to his work. 20. The influences that shape our destinies are very subtle. 21. It's not the love you make, it's the love you give. 22. The wonders of yesterday are today common occurrences. 23. Every living being is an engine geared to the wheel work of the universe. 24. Patience is the key. 25. Races and nations come and pass away, but man remains. 26. We are all one. And 27. Money does not represent such a value as men have placed on it. All right, so that's a good list there. I wanted to bring that to your attention because with all of the negativity that takes place in the world, I think it's important that we understand the positivity as well. Okay, because the negativity is only in select areas. Sure, it seems to spread and it seems to have more influence because the people that are pushing the negativity are in influential positions. And sometimes it can seem very daunting when we look at it thinking that oh, there's no hope, woe is me. But when we look at the positive, we realize that it's there. And all we have to do is look for it, and we see it, and we can allow that energy to expand. It's a constant battle back and forth between this positive and this negative, this good and this evil. We can choose which way we want to go. I think it's important to be aware of what is the evil that's out there so we can stand up to it. We can be aware when it tries to enter our circle of influence. But we also want to stay focused on the positive because that's what's going to allow us the opportunity to affect the change that we want. Okay? So, here is a channeled message for today. This was Archangel Gabriel's message from yesterday.
Gabriel Daily Message tilde Thursday, August 18th, 2016. Archangel Gabriel. Dear ones, many of you shy away from truly stepping into love for yourselves because you fear you will fall into ego. Let us assure you, that will not happen. Ego self-love creates self-imposed separation, which, by its very nature will not allow love, healing, or connection. It perpetuates behaviors that do not honor the self, and keeps you stuck. It becomes a very lonely, uncomfortable place indeed, and a space that you would not be able to stay in for very long at all before your discomfort would urge you to choose another energy that better fits who you really are. Conscious self-love unifies by including yourself in your own loving care. It nurtures and encourages healing and growth, and unconditional love for all things, including yourself. It anchors the energy of unity consciousness, by not separating, but rather including yourself as an equally delightful part of the whole, deserving of your own delightful attention. By unconditionally loving all the parts of you, you unify and heal all the aspects of self that have been yearning for the missing piece of your own tender love, which allows you to move forward in authentic and empowered ways like never before. Do you see? The first is of energies that you have already evolved beyond, so even if you tried to go back there you would not be able to stay in those energies very long. The second moves you into the energies of home of unconditional love, unity consciousness, and acceptance. One perpetuates the illusion of separation, while the other willingly and lovingly supports the whole. Through intention, one holds the energy of exclusion, the other of inclusion. One rejects, the other accepts. So we urge you to finally, consistently, love yourselves as the vital and divine aspects you really are, for it is through this final act of unification and acceptance you will start your empowered journey, shining in your authentic truth and glory. And that, dear ones, is what puts the light in enlightenment. Archangel Gabriel.
Alright, very nice message for today. Alright, let's do our meditation. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Take another deep breath. Exhale again. And another breath. And exhale. Now as you breathe in and out, think about all that you have experienced over the course of this week. Think about all of the lessons and the information that we have taken in. The information about the bad and the information about the good. And understand it to be simply information that allows us the opportunity to make better decisions. And as we move through the world, we find that each and every moment is an opportunity for us to make new decisions. And that the better the information we have, the better decision we can make. We also understand that in any process of making decisions, we need to have the best information. So we have to learn how to distance ourselves from the information that is not truthful. How to know the difference between the lie and the truth. Between the deception and the reality of truthfulness. And as we learn to be able to understand when we are being deceived or lied to, or when there is an illusion being cast in our presence, we find ourselves growing stronger because we know by seeing past all of these falsehoods, we are able to truly understand and see what is really taking place. So let's just imagine ourselves walking through the world, walking the path of life, looking at all situations and figuring out the parts of those that are truthful versus that are deceitful. Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother, thank you for the blessings that you have brought to our life this day. Thank you for the opportunity to use the gifts that you have given us. The ability to see with our eyes, hear with our ears, and understand and know with our heart that which is truthful, and to separate it from that which is deceitful. We thank you for allowing your force, your essence to emanate through all of existence, and for the light of the Christ that is available to each and every one of us here upon this earth, both now, in the past, and evermore into the future. Let's let the subconscious mind continue on the journey of observing life, looking at that which is truthful and understanding the difference between that which is deceitful. And let us continue on that journey. And let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment so that we can participate in the activities of this day, while at the same time understanding the unconscious desires to be able to evaluate all that we see. So let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale, and open your eyes. All right, my friends, that is it. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for being here for the week. All the shows are available. We had a lot of stories, a lot of information this week. First Contact Radio is a place you can go to check it out. If you like the video, hit the like button. I'd appreciate if you're not a subscriber, if you would go ahead and do so. That way you can catch up on all the most recent shows. You can also find First Contact Radio over at Facebook. You can check out the Twitter feeds and all that kind of good stuff. I hope you have a great weekend. Be safe out there. Pay attention to what's going on. Just keep sending positivity into the world. Doesn't matter what the negativity they try to throw at you is. We can counteract it all with love, with positivity. Remember, there are those who are trying to play the Jedi mind trick on you. Those who are trying to discourage you in life. We don't have to pay attention to that. We can move through life completely encouraged because the spirit of the eternal, unconquerable God flows through our beings. And when we let that shine, nothing can stop us. Nothing can stop God. So let's just let that light within us shine. Let's go out there and let's be an example of this light that we share with others so they do the same thing. And when we all start shining bright the light within us, when we all start expressing that God force within us, this is going to be an incredible place because we will clear all of the darkness, the deception, the lies. We'll clear it from our space so that we can move through life in the most peaceful, harmonious, blessed way possible, the way that we are destined to do. I know things sometimes look challenging, but God wins in the end, and up to that point, it's all opportunities for us to strengthen our character, find out where we stand in all of this. So, strengthen your character, my friends. Stand and be who you are truly able to be, to the highest potential that you can be, because we all have great potential within us. We all have God potential within us, and all we have to do is let that shine, because we are all drops and aspects of God. We can't help but be anything else because that's exactly who and what we are. The deception, the illusion tells us otherwise, but we go inside and we connect with that ultimate source. We know the difference. We know the truth. So that's it, my friends. Have yourselves an awesome day. Have yourselves a great weekend. I'll be back next week. Till then, I love you. Keep loving each other, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.